I'd like to hand over to Mickey Helliott now. You can all hammer him regarding applicants, and I'll hand you over to Mick.
Thank you very much for your warm welcome. For those of you who don't know or have never come across me before, I'm a matchmaker, I'm a promoter, a manager, jack of all trades based in London. I've worked as Kaz as a matchmaker for Assassin Promotions for a number of years. Very much enjoyed working with Kaz. We've had some stressful times together, but we've always come through and delivered good fights for the shows. Kaz started initially talking to me about this project, and having managed quite a lot of Irish fighters, good level Irish fighters previously, I'm very much aware that the thing that we really are missing in Ireland is TV exposure. And I mean, Ireland has a fantastic history of developing amateur boxers, world-class amateur boxers, and only a tiny fraction, and we've got here Andy Lee, who actually completely went against what I'm saying and won a world title. But from that huge number of world-class amateurs that has been produced by this country, so few of them come through. And as a manager and a matchmaker of boxers, I realise why that happens, because we haven't got in Ireland the platforms that are available elsewhere to develop the fighters at the pace that they need to be, getting them regular fights. I've seen these guys, Jonathan and his team, ringing me on the phone regularly asking for fighters to come and box guys here. When Kaz started talking about the whole the idea, I thought fantastic. That's exactly what they need in Ireland, because you're going to draw broadcasters into broadcasting the fighters, which is going to create affinity between the viewers and the fighters themselves, which is exactly what you need then to move forwards with your broadcaster to develop the fighters in their career. And boxing is hugely popular here. That one thing that I learned very quickly from when I was working. I worked with Andrew Murray, who was Irish champion on RTE. Dean Byrne I worked with, who got a top 10 European ranking. And the big disadvantage we had is when we're trying to negotiate the fights, if I have a British fight, I can say, well, Sky's going to put this much in the pot, or ITV's going to put this much in the pot. In Ireland we haven't got that because we don't have a broadcaster that supports boxing. But when I saw the idea and the way he was going about it, I thought that's going to attract sponsorship. The bookmakers, to start with, Paddy Power, I know, I actually know that the guys at Paddy Power, I know for a fact they will definitely snap that up. As will Boyle Sports and everybody else over here, I think, involved in bookmaking. As soon as you've got that, then you've got the prize money, you'll have the fighters, and I became very excited about working with both promotional outfits on this. I've already actually been getting quite a number, and I was surprised, because I've purposely not spoken to anyone that I know in Irish boxing about this, because everyone that I do speak straight, oh, make sure you get my guys in there. It won't be my say alone, but we have got a duty to the broadcaster particularly to make sure that they get what they want, and they've been fairly black and white. You know, they want the best fighting the best. So we'll do our best for you, and I'm sure we'll develop a good format that can be taken forward. And pleasure to work with Jonathan and with Kaz on this, because they've really got that. I can see they've got that fire burning in them, and I think we're going to really deliver something very good for you. And already you can see that Joe Egen's here. We've got Pascal Collins, one of the top trainers in Ireland here. It's attracting a lot of attention, and I think it's something that is, for me, it's a foregone conclusion that it will grow. I think you will see something. It won't be a one-off, because when something makes money for lots of people and it works and it actually generates TV viewers and excitement, which I know, I'm very confident that this will. Well, I wouldn't have got involved. I've got too much things to do myself. I run about 20 odd shows a year. I manage about 70 boxers. I wouldn't have, if I hadn't thought it got legs, I would not have got involved. But very quickly, I just saw all the elements that I looked for. Every question was answered, and I began to believe in it very quickly. And I feel this is something that's going to grow. It's going to be very big, and it's going to be very good for Irish boxing. So I'm very happy to be involved in it, and I'm really chomping at the bit and looking forward to us putting on some good shows for you guys.
Just before we invite Joe Egan up, who's going to be our next speaker, a couple of points to take up from where Kaz left. one of the other interesting things about this competition is that not only does the winner walk away with a decent sum of money, they then become mandatory for the Irish middleweight title. So for most boxers in Ireland, you know, there's a lot of prestige associated with winning the Irish title. Spike, obviously a former Irish champion, can attest to that. So that's another element that will entice people into the competition. And I don't know if Kaz wants to take up on it further on discussion, but you know, when we start kind of batting this around at the start, everyone kind of thought, you know, because we've had discussions with TV companies ongoing, particularly since we started in Red Corner and since we started working with Kaz about trying to get them on board. And everyone kind of says, are you mad? They're not going to be interested, seeing unless it's a European title fight or seeing unless it's, you know, a fight of a massive standing or some of a massive profile, they won't bite at the bit. And in some cases that's true, but what makes this unique and what makes it different and what has made it attractive to all the television companies is this concept has already proved itself. This concept is very similar to that of prize fighter. All we need to do is just take a look at the viewing figures that prize fighter has attracted in the UK, and obviously we need to adjust it relative to population and so on and so forth. But the bottom line of it is there's a large number of people that tune in to watch this because it's easy on the eye and it's fan pleasing. So they're not sitting there watching, you know, for the purists or the anorak or whatever you want to call it. You know, for us to watch 12 rounds of technical boxing is great, but for Joe public, a lot of times they want to see what Kaz has outlined: explosive fights, knockouts, blood and guts, essentially. And this is what this competition adds. It adds that spice, and there's already proven viewership there that adds to the commercial side of it. So look, without further ado, I'm going to invite Joe Egen up.
Thank you very much for the lovely introduction. I'm in my 50s now and I shouldn't really be wishing time away at my age, but I can't wait for this to happen, to tell you the truth. So I'm wishing the next few months away. I never made to be a 12-round fighter. I never got that. I fought a lot of 12-round fighters, I sparred a lot of 12-round fighters, but sometimes in a 12-round fight it can be a bit boring to a person that's not an avid boxing fan. And sometimes there might only be 3 exciting rounds in a 12-round fight. But with this concept, you're guaranteed to get them 3 exciting rounds. There's no way that this concept cannot be exciting. You know, these guys, you could probably put them into a phone box to fight the way they're fired up for this contest. I think it's fantastic. Irish boxers around the world, that's what we've been known for, is our fighting spirit. You know, that's one thing about the Irish. If you're fighting an Irishman, you know you're going to be in a fight. We've had some great world champions over the years. There's former world champions here, great fighters, and there's future world champions here, great fighters. And who knows, this platform could launch a few more great fighters to world title honours. Because every fighter that climbs into the ring dreams about becoming a champion of the world. This tournament could be the first title that a future world champion could win as a professional fighter. So if we all get behind Red Club and Assassins Boxing, here now tonight, everybody's here to get behind it. If we encourage everybody in Ireland to get behind it, terrestrial television is going to make such a massive difference. Not everybody has BoxNation and not everybody has Sky Sports, but the great thing about terrestrial television, everybody gets to see it. You know, and this is, like I say, this is going to be great for Irish boxing. You know, we're already firmly on the map, Irish boxing, but this is going to really stamp our authority on Irish boxing on the world map, because we have so much potential. Over the years in the Olympics, we've had medal winners over the years. Not in many other sports, but boxing, we've always acquitted ourselves so well. We've had bronze, silver and gold medals in boxing and many Olympics. But in other sports, we've had the odd running medal, we've had an odd gymnastics medal or whatever, but we've always acquitted ourselves so well in boxing. And there's no reason why with this tournament that we can show the world that already doesn't know, the world already knows, but anybody that doesn't know, this is going to show what Irish fighters are made of. So I wish you every success. I'm honoured to be part of it.
Thank you, Joe Egen. I'd like to invite former WBO World Middleweight Champion to say a few words, Andy Lee.
How y'all doing? I'd just like to commend you, Assassins and Red Corner, for this. It's very ambitious, it's exciting, it's very imaginative, and it could lead to a great series of boxing being shown on Irish TV here in Ireland, and it's what we've been crying out for, to be televised in Ireland. And the benefits as a fighter, having your fights televised, I can know some of my earlier fights were on RT, and just walking on the street, people saying, "I saw your fight, well done," and you know, it binds you to the experience, and it just gives you that feeling, and it can lead to so many other opportunities in life because people can recognise you because they've seen you fighting on TV. The fact that it's prize fight, I think it will suit a lot of the boxers in Ireland because none of them are at that 12 round level yet, and it'll be brilliant, you know, to have those competitive fights and with a quick turnover, with it's a knockout, you know, knockout kind of format. And we've always done well, like the Irish base fight. Well, Willie Casey's one prize fighter, Mike Perez one prize fighter. Can't think of any others from John O'Carroll one prize fighter. Sorry, that was brilliant. Martin Rogan. He won the first one. But and guys have gone on to do big things. Martin Murray, I know he won the prize fight, and look what he's gone on to do in his career. Just missed out on winning the world title. Mike Perez just missed out on winning the world title, you know, a couple of times. So it's a great platform for anybody. And it can be a real star, but you know, it can produce stars and make you a household name in Ireland. So well done to the guys. I think it's a great initiative, and good luck to all the boxers. And I'll definitely be there cheering you all on March the 3rd.
Craig O'Brien, ladies and gentlemen, has come in. He's not renowned for his punctuality, but he's a big talent. He's going to go places, and he's the current BUI Celtic light middleweight champion. So get a round of applause for Craig. And he's also joined by his colleague in the Celtic Wear gym, Bernard Rowe, who's a professional boxer. 5-0, Bernard, is it? 5-0. And both lads are boxing on the 2nd of December. So if you could lend your support to both of them. Fourth one in. Darren Cruz is here also. He had a really good fight against Luke Keeler in June. He's now signed with Kaz and the guys in Assassin Boxing, and we now have JJ McDonough. He's the super middleweight Irish champion, and I thought I seen your brother Paddy come in. Yeah, Paddy. He's the light heavyweight champion. He fought Steve Collins to claim the title for the 2nd time in June also. So get a round of applause. So we're now going to invite up a man who has a very hard act to follow in his new position. Brian McKeever, ladies and gents, he's the new president of the Boxing Union of Ireland. And for those of us who had the pleasure of working with a known Mel Crystal, we all know what a presence of a man he was. So, Brian McKeever.
Well, really all I'd like to say is that I agree with everything that's been said here so far. I think the concept is a brilliant concept. I think it's a win-win. After, you know, a while in the doldrums, as is well known, Irish professional boxing, I think this is the initiative we need. I think the number of applicants that will want to be on board, I'd say, will be very, very big. So I'd say it'll be a hard thing to get onto, but it's a great idea, and I think the idea of a mandatory fight for an Irish title is the way to go. The fact that it supports amateur boxing as well, and the winner, his 5,000 going towards the club is a really good idea. I think amateur boxing is where most of you started as boxers, and it needs to be supported as well. I think the television being on board, it's what we need. You know, we want people to be able to recognise who our boxers are, rather than just read about them, whether they're fighting in England or whatever. To be able to have something like this in Ireland, I think is great, and I just wish it every success, and hopefully it will continue in the other weight divisions. Thank you.
Okay, folks, we're going to move on to some questions. If people can mention who they're directing the questions to, and we'll go from there. So we have the three lads in the panel, Mickey, Joe and Kaz. So any questions, just let us know here directly. But just very briefly, a special thanks to they can't be here, James Heller and Kuhn Cassius, for allowing us to use their platform. They've sent Chris down to work on behalf of IFL TV. Obviously Dark Cole, who's here from Irish Boxers, behind the gloves, have sent somebody as well. And obviously I see Sean out of Sunday World and whatever other media outlets here that I haven't spotted yet. So Johnny and Joel, who I see every day of the week nearly at this stage. Johnny is actually a constituent of mine, so I hear from him quite regularly, and he torments me quite a bit, but sure, that's a different story. But look, we're going to open the floor to questions now, so just let us know here directly and we'll go from there. Thanks.
What TV company?
Kaz?
Broadcast will be announced on January the 10th. Truth is, we've got 3 broadcasters. We had a contract on the table from the first one, and before we signed it, another 2 came in. So, facts be facts, it's going out to the highest bidder. So we're going to see who the entrants are, put it to the TV networks. I can confirm it's 3 terrestrial TV companies.
Squid TV. Actually, Kaz, sorry, one last question with you there too.
No doubt that within these walls there was many great initiatives and many great planning sessions that have emerged, and I've no doubt that this evening we'll go down in history as one of those things, one of those seminal moments, particularly for Irish boxing and the direction we hope to bring it in. Again, I want to welcome everyone, particularly on behalf of Red Corner Promotions, myself, Paddy and Andrew, and our friends and colleagues in Assassin Boxing Ireland, Kaz Evans and Conor Slater. I want to pay particular tribute to our colleagues in the media who've made the effort to come here, and those who've supported Irish boxing steadfastly over a number of years when, you know, often shows and such events as what we're going to launch tonight were quite barren. I also want to pay particular tribute to some notable boxing guests such as Andy Lee, former world champion Gary Spike O'Sullivan, and then our existing Irish pros in the room, Victor, Raboy, Vlad Belewski and Ray Moylett. It's always decent enough of the Irish boxing community to rally around each other and come out and support this in what no doubt is going to be a historic event. And I was quite taken by a tweet by one of our ambassadors, Mickey Elliott, last night, and we'll introduce the panel in a moment. But Mickey said in his tweet, and again I'm paraphrasing it, is that this event represents a new era for Irish boxing. I have no doubt that it represents a new era for Irish boxing. It represents something that is going to be explosive, something that's going to be very exciting, something that's going to be very marketable, and something which I have no doubt is going to take Irish boxing to the next level. And tonight what we are doing is ushering in a new era in Irish boxing. So just to fill you in on the proceedings, that's how it's going to go forward. I'm going to invite my friend and colleague Kaz Evans up, who's going to give you a brief rundown as to why we're doing this, what the concept is, the actual nitty-gritty detail of the concept. Then we're going to hand you over to Mickey Elliott, who's he's going to be the bearer of bad news. He's going to chair up the steering group of the selection committee. So Mickey, and then obviously a guy to be appointed, and then TV executive will decide and shape the involvement of the applicants. Obviously we have Big Joe Egen, who's kindly taking the time out of his evening to come and see us. Who's also going to say a few words, and then we have Brian McKeever, he's the recently elected president of the Boxing Union of Ireland. And just on behalf of this gathering, but more so on behalf of ourselves at Red Corner and Assassin Boxing, we just want to extend our gratitude to Mel Crystal for all the diligent work he's done over the years for Irish boxing. One of the things that Brian will probably touch on in his contribution, and Kaz will go through it in more detail, is that we're really excited to be here and launch this concept. The rumour mill's been rife over the last couple of days, and if you don't already know what it is, it kind of, you know, it is what it says. You know, it's Ireland's last man standing. It is going to be a prize for the competition. But one of the really interesting things about this is that there's a continuity to this concept. This isn't just a once-off. you know, obviously tonight we're gonna be talking about this first initial version, which is going to be aimed at the middleweights, but there's going to be continuity going forward. And thanks to the Boxing Union of Ireland for giving ourselves in Red Corner and Assassins a platform to do, where we now have the exclusive to this competition in Ireland, and we're really delighted about that. And it's really good news for every other boxer at all the other weights, particularly at Victor's weight, because there's really an interesting line up there. So you never know, Victor, you might see yourself in one of these very shortly. So I'm going to hand you over to Kaz, who's going to go through the why, the where, the how, and everything else that you need to know about this concept. Thanks.
Good evening. Can everyone hear me okay? Yeah. Good. So obviously being an Englishman over here, there's one thing you cannot doubt, and that's the Irish supporters of any sport being the best in the world. So there couldn't be a better place to launch this competition. The secret's out. It's an eliminator competition labelled Last Man Standing. It'll be 8 fighters, 7 fights, 1 winner, all in one evening. Now, everyone's already seen the concept before in Prize Fighter, but this will be slightly different. We're looking for explosive fights, which is where Mickey Hellier and Kenny Egen come in. They will represent the selection committee working with the broadcaster. At this moment, I'd like to let everybody know this format with Assassin Boxing and Red Corner Promotions is not a vehicle for us. This is a vehicle to put Irish boxing back on the map. Fighters who are managed by anybody, any promotions company, are welcome to come and enter and join in. The event will be live on terrestrial television on March the 3rd at the National Stadium, which represents the first time that terrestrial telly in Ireland has broadcast live boxing for 9 years, which I think is a massive moment for the sport over here. There'll be a full undercard and an Irish title fight on the bill as well. So again, we're looking for people to come forward, and if you're an exciting fighter, we want to put you on the card. We believe this will be pivotal in the current resurgence of professional boxing for Ireland, and it'll be something that will bring back some of the nostalgic nights that Ireland's definitely held over here, which I'm sure some of you can remember. So, how to enter. All the information on how to enter the competition for any boxers that want to go into it, any managers, will be on all the social media of Assassin Boxing and Red Corner Promotions. So from tomorrow, you'll be able to go on any of our platforms or our websites, and all the information will be there on how to enter and put your name forward. The closing date for applicants will be December the 31st, and a second press conference will be held on Wednesday the 10th of January, where we will announce the winning applicants. Prize money. Who wants to know about prize money? I'm sure a few of you do. So we're doing it a little bit different. The prize money will be €1,000 for the quarter finalists. The semi-finalists will receive a further 1,000. So if you're a successful semi-finalist, you walk away with 2,000. The runner-up of the competition will be 5,000. The winner walks away with 25,000. So it really is last man standing. To add more flavour to the competition, we're doing €1,000 per knockout and a €2,000 bonus to the fastest knockout of the evening. So for the man winning the competition in style, there's some proper money there, I'm sure you'll all agree. To add to that, we've also got to look at the grassroots of boxing and the amateur scene. So our sponsors have put forward a community fund. Each successful applicant will have €500 donated to his amateur club of his choice, and the winning fighter, it will be topped up to €5,000. So the winning fighter, just to clarify, his former amateur club or the club of his choice will receive €5,000 for them to spend on equipment for the fantastic amateur boxing scene in Ireland, which is buzzing at the moment. I'm sure you'll all agree, and it's what we cannot forget what's going on there.
Irish middleweights, is it just limited to Irish middleweights, or is it open?
It's open to anybody of Irish heritage. Right. So we're looking for Irish middleweights. Anybody can be licensed with a BUI. Anyone who's got an Irish grandmother. I don't think it goes any further back than that, or grandparents. But yeah, it's about Irish boxers. We won't have someone entering who says my great-great-great-grandmother lived next door to an Irishman. Can I enter? You know, there won't be no back doors for anybody. We're looking for Irish. This is what this is about. It's about Irish talent in Ireland, boxing on Irish television.
They haven't taken a license with the BUI, obviously, to take part in this, will they?
We haven't been ordered that yet from the BUI. So at this stage, no. I would say no, but it might be something that Brian decides. that's something that can be brought up. But I can't foresee that being a problem, like I say, providing... A lot of the time, these guys that are trying to get licences and whatever, they're not genuinely Irish. They're trying to fight for Irish titles, and let's be honest, they're trying to get in on the back door and trying to get a title of some kind. If they were genuinely Irish, there wouldn't be a problem. And I think, if I can speak for the BUI, I think that's where they sort of laid the law down and said, we'll get a licence with the BUI, otherwise you're not going to have you can't fight for an Irish title. And to get a licence with the BUI, you've got to prove that you're from Ireland, or you've got to live here. And that's only right, because otherwise it doesn't do any credit to your actual proper Irishmen that live here. And all of a sudden there's someone else coming from overseas who's getting the right to fight for an Irish title. So the rules are pretty simple. We'll adhere to the rules. We're grateful to the BUI for sanctioning the event. So we'll follow through with those rules. And just to clarify, the weight limit, although it is at middleweights, the weight limit will be set at 165. 165 will be the limit.
So from 155 to 165.
So although it is set, it's called the middleweights, it'll allow super middles to come down, it'll allow light middles to come up. So it opens the category up massively, because as the boxers in the room know, your weights do fluctuate just a little bit. So I'm sure some of you can focus on that.
Just to clarify, the prize fund is for the winner is on the brochure it says 20,000. You said 25.
It's 25. It was a misprint.
And plus the 5 they give to their club.
Sorry.
And plus the 5 they give to their club.
Plus the 5 they give to their club, yeah.
And the runner-up gets how much?
5.
5.
Really is last man standing.
Is it like just the selection process? Is it just like active? Like surely people that have been inactive are going to come back here with this.
Providing they can get a licence.
Yeah, it really depends on the length of their inactivity. And once they satisfy the licensing criteria from the BUI.
The applicants will be coming, they'll be given to the BUI. The BUI will say, yeah, we're happy with these applicants. The applicants then go over to Mickey, Kenny Egen, and the committee that's been put together by the broadcaster, and they will select the final 8. But there's no point selecting an 8 where one of them can't get a licence. So again, that's something that the BUI will then dictate.
I assume the selection committee is final, there's no appeal.
There's what, no appeal?
The selection committee is final decision, that's it?
No, it's not court.
I was going to ask a question. Al Gannon is my name. I run a security company. We've been running security at boxing bouts in this country since TV was in black and white. So I know how important it is that this stuff gets to another level. It's great to see these guys doing what they're doing here tonight. It's just wonderful.
Thank you.
My question is, what is your target audience when you say it's going extraterrestrial and you're going TV-wise? How do you see that? Who do you think is going to watch this?
I think, yeah. I think as Jonathan pointed out, and I think I fall into the category called anorak, where I want to watch every bout that's out there. I think the issue we have with when you go to a lot of shows is people are there to watch one fight. If you look at the household names that are created from this tournament, because it's exciting, it's not a night of boxing. And let's be honest, the reason TV companies pulled out of boxing was because there were so many boring fights in the build-up and the viewers were only getting one main title fight, which is great for the person in the title fight. But the undercard fighters and everyone else in it are getting...
So there'll be worldwide accessibility?
It'll have broadcasting in Ireland, obviously, and that will come through the TV, through the terrestrial television. And then outside of Ireland, we'll have an app which will give, as long as you download the Last Man Standing app, you'll be able to watch it on your iPad or on your iPod free of charge.
Super, nice.
So that will give our viewers, again, it will give exposure to anybody in the States where there's a big Irish community, the UK, and anywhere around the world.
Well, we're also exploring the potential of some streaming pending on a fitting whatever agreement we can come to with the TV company. But essentially we're looking for as broad a demographic as possible, because we all know what makes profiles and what builds reputations of boxers is the casual fan. And you know, in my opinion, that's what has turned the likes of Bernard Dunn, Steve Collins into superstars. The fact that they had exposure to massive markets, you know.
Is there a chance of if the winner topping the show that we televised, if you know what I mean? So if you get the winner and he's got a massive profile, like to get back on television, he doesn't have to drop a load of weight in enterprise for the light welterweights.
No.
Is there a knock on it?
We'll look at it. Look, I'm not going to give you a blanket answer because there's a context to it all. But if the fighter is impressive in winning, and if you know, we think that you know that fighter can be built and you know surely deserves a chance at the win. If there's a fight out there that would satisfy See, because what you need to bear in mind when you're working with TV companies, you know, us as promoters need to be flexible. So we need to buy into their thinking. So as long as it fits with what they want to do and what they want to produce, of course we'll try to give the fighter the opportunity to headline the show independently.
But they haven't said anything about that specifically.
Well, in theory, where the winner will become mandatory for the BUI, the next tournament, 3 months later, let's say welterweights, the person who's won the middleweights will box on that show, fighting for the title, and so on and so forth. So it builds a platform for the guy who's just won the previous prize fighter, and hopefully an explosive style. He's had a great payday. He's then going to have another TV night where he's going to be fighting for an Irish title. So it's fantastic exposure. It doesn't stop there. It goes on and it goes on.
Have you noticed a massive difference when you? I know you've been trying to make TV for small hall shows. When you went in with this idea, is the difference in the reaction?
When we went in with the idea, no one wanted to know. By the time it took momentum and they learned more, now they're coming to us. It sells itself.
See, the interesting thing about it, Johnny, was that when we were going in, you know, initially we were always pitching a kind of a storyline that, you know, there's so many boxers, here's where we see them going, here's what addition we think TV exposure, particularly terrestrial TV, can make into the careers of those respective boxers. So you were kind of having that bland conversation when you went in with a concept, but then when they appreciate the concept and start looking at the detail of it, i.e., you know, the commercial value of it, the viewership it picks up, and we always use the national seniors as a baseline, because the national seniors was shown for a number of years on terrestrial TV, but particularly TG Car in the later years, and what that showed is that even at a very basic level there's a market for boxing in Ireland. So when you use that as your base and then bring them a concept that has a proven massive viewership, it was a more amenable discussion.
If they tell you a once-off night, I would be like, will you do it there for like 3 fights a year?
That's the plan, and you know, Kaz will fill you in. The reason why we haven't announced a particular broadcaster tonight is because you know, we're in the final detail of discussion with a number of them. But what we want is, we want longevity in this. We want continuity, and we want whatever broadcasters coming on board and whoever we decide will come on board to be with us for the long run. Yeah. Because what we don't want is to get 1 or 2 fights out of it and then disappear, because it's not good for Irish boxing, and it's not good, particularly for the boxer who's built the platform and is disappeared from the platform.
I was about to say that, Craig. So, for instance, TV3, what we don't want to do is put one show on there and then switch over to someone else because they're offered more money. What we want to do and what we've put forward to the three broadcasters that are saying they want to do it is, we want to make this a longevity. We want it for 3 years, every 3 months for 3 years. It gives fighters like yourself the platform to come and box on the first show, win it, box on the next show, and put yourself into contention to box on the next one. Because let's not forget, it's not just, there's a competition here which is going to be explosive, but you've got the full undercard, you've got afterwards, you've got an Irish title fight. There's opportunity everywhere within this concept and within each show that's put on. So it's massive for any fighters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Darren?
So I think we're doing is now very good, because there's Irish boxers spread out all over the world. Got TJ Doherty, he was in the States, and he's only fighting for a title shortly. Got Dennis Hogan. Do you think that would encourage them, if they win the title, to come over and do something over here?
Well, maybe, you know, I would imagine so. I'd imagine, you tell me, I suppose every Irishman wants to fight for a big title in his home country. So this could be the platform for it, and I'd like to think that.
I think bottom line of it is, and Paddy will obviously fill people in more detail if they want, part of one of the reasons why Bernard come back from the States was because of TV exposure. So I think if you have TV, you know, of course it's going to entice boxers back.
If we take a couple of if we take a couple of boxers in the room who are getting good exposure, if we take Spike Sullivan at the moment, who's probably doing the most in terms of activity in Irish boxing at that level, where are all his fights at the moment? They're all in the States. If we take Katie Taylor, she's doing a fantastic ambassador for women's Irish boxing. But how many times has she boxed in Ireland in front of the home people? Ray Moylett at the back there went pro in March. He's had 8 fights now. He's only had 1 in Ireland. This is where we need to put Irish boxing back on the map, and this is what this platform will do. We'll give fighters the confidence to sign with the many promoters and managers in Ireland and get on television and base themselves here and not have to go abroad.
It's about how you're marketing as well. If you're marketed properly and you're done properly, you've no problem, people will come see it.
And I can't see a better way of marketing someone than having them box 4 times a year on terrestrial telly.
Is it realistic that you could build quite soon towards the 90
arena or something like that, or plans?
Yeah, I mean, as any business in any concept, everything grows. So we have no doubt in our minds that, you know, by the second competition or even the third, it will be at the bigger places, it will be at the arenas. But it all depends on how the first one goes. I mean, the National Stadium holds 2,500, 2,000. I've got no doubt in my mind that's going to sell out. You know, that sells out. The view. Thanks, Andy. Thank you. So yeah, eventually we like to move it on, and again, if we can get to a level which I expect us to by the third or fourth show, where the viewing figures are that big, then we can attract some European titles, some world titles to come and fight on the card.
One of the interesting things, Joe, and I know you've followed the prize fighter model in the UK, but what they managed to do with Sky at one point was tie together a prize fighter competition and one of Ricky Hatton's fights. So ideally what we want to use is use prizefighter as the vehicle to deliver massive exposure, terrestrial TV, so on, to allow us, like Kaz was saying, for those with fights. I know Dara's been indicating for a bit, so.
No, the winner fight gets cut, you have to have replacements, yeah?
What we're going to do is, rather than, we tended to find, looking back and with a bit of research, people weren't keen on having reserves and someone going out with a cut in the semi-final and a reserve coming in and taking his spot in the final. So we've gone with and agreed with the broadcaster that someone wins a semi-final but they can't go through for whatever reason. The person that they beat, he would then step up and take their place. I think
that's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
It's the right way to go. There can't be anything worse than someone who's boxed their heart out in the semi-final, lost by a point, and then watching somebody else go through because the other man got cut. He's walking into a fresh fight as opposed to someone who's boxed 3 times.
It happened in one of the prize fighters.
It did indeed.
In the dressing room, getting against the guy that's fought twice hard fights.
It did indeed. We will have reserves. We'll have a couple of reserves because injuries do happen in the build-up to the show. So we will have a couple of reserves. But on the night, it will be those 8 fighters and one of them will be the winner. There'll be no reserves coming in.
The reserves get paid.
Sorry?
Do they get paid as well?
Did you want to be one then?
The reserves won't be taking part there. The reserves will only be up.
They have to be straight and build up to it.
Yeah. So there
is reserves.
Not on the night.
Not for the night. There'll be a reserve in case someone has to pull out the show before fight night.
So one of them doesn't make the weight or something like that.
Yeah, if someone, I would expect. I would hope, Joe, that something of this level that someone wouldn't make, that they will make weight. But you never know. But we've all had yeah, exactly, yeah. But we've all seen people get injured 3-4 days, freak accidents, falling over in the shower after the weigh-in. We've all seen things like that. So we want to safeguard ourselves. So yeah, there will be a couple of reserves, but literally the guys that turn up on the night, one of those guys will win it.
Right.
It's very fair.
Is it true Spike's mother-in-law is going to be a judge?
I cannot confirm or deny that rumour.
On the way in, Spike asked us, we have Judy and Alicia, ladies and gents, they're ring girls at our shows, but Spike asked us the way in to get rid of them, Ray, so we put his mother-in-law in. So we'll leave that up to Martin Brennan to decide what we do.
No competition there.
Decision man, right?
Darren.
How are the fighters actually going to be picked? How are they going to be ranked? Is it just who you like, or how
I'll just clear this up. So, Red Corner and Assassin Boxing, we have no power in picking the winner. Picking the winner. Picking the entrant.
That sounds terrible.
We have no power. One of the things with this competition is it fails and it falls over, Darren, if we have anything to do with the competition in terms of who goes into it. So we had to completely distance ourselves with where the idea of a ratings committee came up. And even to take it one step further, we then got someone who isn't even Irish. He's got no Irish boxers.
How are they going to pick? What's
They're going to sit down with Kenny Egen, Mickey Elliott and the broadcaster will sit down between them, look at every single applicant, and they will decide which ones make good television. This competition, ladies and gents, it's not a vehicle for Assassin Boxing. It's not a vehicle for Red Corner Promotions. It's a vehicle for Irish boxing. And it falls straight over if, I pick a name out of the hat, JJ McDonough goes into the competition and walks through everybody. The second show won't get picked up it'll be looked at cynical. So we have no input on who goes into the competition. It's done by the broadcaster and it's done by 2 independents who are purely looking for what styles make fights. That's the fairest way.
Kaz, the scoring is going to be 3 judges.
3 judges.
Not the referee, that's okay. 3 judges.
3 judges, yeah. It'll be 3 judges. We'll have just to clear up. So Pascal will have 3 judges. Out of them 3 judges, there'll be a head judge appointed by the BUI. So in the event that there is a draw, then the head judge will have to pick which one to go with. I find it.
But there can't be a draw, should it can't?
If 3
rounds.
Yeah, but 3. Well, technically it can.
Yeah.
Technically it can. Yeah. So it's very freak,
yes.
but to safeguard that, you know. I mean, and the old prize fighter, believe it or not, if it came to that, they were going to settle it with a coin, with a flip of a coin. That was how it was going to be done.
Why not have just 1 more round? Let them settle it that way, no?
We've got the format of the competition. It'll be 3 rounds, and it'll be decided. It will be unfair. It'll be unfair.
I get well paid to be tournament.
It'll be unfair as well. If you have one fighter who's got to do an extra round. So the whole idea is 3 rounds, 3 fights. It's fair. It's got to be fair for it to work. It's got to be fair for people to watch the first show and go, I want to enter that next show.
No, I just with the 3 judges.
Yeah.
It's good because in the boxing of Ireland, which has worked for years, the referee has been the judge. But I'm just wondering on a format like this, it will work with 3 judges.
Yeah. It will.
If it was drinking, there'd be no problem to the Irish people.
Will we only know the 8 or will we know the people that have applied?
No, it'll be just the 8.
Yeah.
It'll be unfair to those who went through the application process and who weren't successful then to bandy about that. You know, say for example if you know, Spike applied and we said, oh, we didn't pick Spike, you know, it'd be unfair, you know.
So because I've got the 2 most exciting middleweights in the country, they're definitely going. Is that what you're saying?
Well, tell them when the application's up on a Monday, tell them to put their application in. And then
they're in.
Blame
the
it.
post now, you have them.
No Pascal, can I throw down to it?
Any further questions, ladies and gents?
The junior middleweight from the middleweight.
Sorry, Kaz, what's the weight again? 155 to 165?
Yeah, 165 is the top.
So I can weigh a 70 kilogram.
What's that in pounds?
160 in pounds.
Yeah.
So it's anything from 155 to 165.
Very little.
So it's £5 either side.
Very little. Seriously.
£5, Craig, either side of the middleweight limit.
Any further questions, ladies and gents?
Hey.
Well, thank you all for coming. Thanks for your attendance.
Thanks very much.
See you all on January